Alright, it's been about 5 months since the first draft video, so I feel like it's finally time to try and get this thing finished and made available on the website. So we're going to do some more demo games to try and iron out more of the problems. So this is the setup screen for the draft. I didn't actually show this in the first video, but it's pretty simple. We're going to pick a team name, so I'm going to be Team Snail. We can choose how many players there are going to be, between 2 and 6. Now it's just going to be me and Flame for this demo, so I'm just going to leave it at 2. Then you need to choose which packs are available, so you can exclude certain packs if everyone in the draft doesn't have them all. And then we're going to set up a lobby code, so this is the code that you're going to share with other players so they can join. So I would just send Flame a message and say pig, hippo, fly, scorpion, and that would be enough to get him into the lobby. Then we move down to the starting pack content, so this is the most important thing, and every draft needs a starting pack. So I'm going to pick one of them here just to explain exactly how a draft works. You can see we have a custom pack with a whole bunch of empty slots, and each player in the lobby will take turns picking pets and food to fill up the empty slots and complete the custom pack. And then everyone goes head to head afterwards to see who was the best drafter. So at the moment I've only got a short list of presets here, but there will be more added in the future. Some will be longer, some will be shorter. And of course I've excluded Puppy Pack at the moment because it's still in flux. And then I've also added these bans and vetoes, so that's a pretty obvious feature that I overlooked in the beginning. So there are some pets that are obviously totally unfair if one player was able to draft them, so Blobfish is an obvious example. And then recently we've got Nurse Shark and German Shepherd, of course, if I can type it properly. There we go. But, at any given time there are probably going to be some very unbalanced pets, and you can exclude them as the host if you want to. You can also have individual player vetoes, so that's basically a ban, but it's decided player per player. So if I set one veto, that means I get to veto a pet, and then Flame will as well. This is really just to promote variety, so if you're always seeing the same pets being drafted, you can veto certain ones to try and encourage people to make different decisions. But of course it's completely optional, you can turn it off as well. And then lastly, we've got a bit of housekeeping at the bottom here, the draft viability check. Very boring, but essentially it just checks to make sure there are enough pets and food to actually go through with the draft. So for example, if I go back to the top and change it to be 6 players and then come back down, you'll see that we don't actually have enough food in tier 5 and 6 for the draft to go ahead. But if I go back and make it back to be 2 players, we're okay. So I'm going to invite Flame into the draft and we'll get on with actually picking. Alright, here we are on the draft screen, and there are some changes from last time. It looks relatively similar, but I'll just quickly go over the layout. So at the top is the pick order. So it shows all the picks in the sequence that they will happen. For our 2-player game, it's not that big a deal, but when there are 5 or 6 people and you want to know how many picks you've got to wait, then it's much easier to see. And then on the left, we've got the available items. So this was changed quite drastically because previously it was just a big list with all the pets, 1 per row, and the pet name. Now the problem with that was because they added the golden pack, there are now so many pets that scrolling through a huge list just isn't feasible. So I've switched it to be icons, and actually you can see there that the banned pets and vetoed pets show up in with a grey background. So I vetoed Weasel just for, just because. But you can see there Blobfish is also dark grey background. But it will also tell you for each tier how many picks you have left. Because there have been a few times when I've been picking and I've not realised that I'm about to lock myself out from a particular tier. So, especially in tier 3, there's quite often multiple pets that you want to take. And you got to be careful that you don't end up going too quick and picking the wrong one. So then in the middle, we've got the actual draft board. So those are the picks that have been made so far. And then on the right, we've got the pack contents, and it will gradually fill up and show you which pets you've already drafted and which ones you've still got left to pick. And then in the bottom right, we've got the custom pack code. So once everyone's finished, the code gets copied and you paste it into a custom pack in the game, and then you go to the versus lobby. So you can see here Team Seal, which is Flame, took Melon first. And I think he was just being kind to me because we'd actually done this before the previous week with an older version of the draft system. Flame took jellyfish almost every time first and demolished me 8 games in a row. So in the end, it worked out quite well that the draft system needed some work and fixes, because it means that I can consign those games to history. But I felt it was only fair to mention that he completely crushed me. So this time he has gone jellyfish, clownfish in the middle rounds, since I didn't take them. So, I said to him beforehand, it's fair enough, just take whatever you want. But he took melon first and I took pepper. Just, to be fair, we both took a food item first. But it is very strange when you're trying to make these kind of decisions, is it better to take tier 6 units first or to take early game units that are likely to get you early wins? I suppose it probably depends how many players there are, because I guess early wins probably mean more when there's only 2 people. So later on here, since I need another tier 6 food, I decided to take pita bread, which was, I had visions of pilling badger and triggering pita bread, but when we actually got round to the games, I don't think I took it once. Probably doesn't make a huge amount of sense if you don't have manatee or yak, and I can't imagine many people would want to draft yak. But on the left hand side, as you go through and pick pets, then the tiers that are closed off disappear, so the list becomes shorter and it's quicker to sort of browse through what you still have to pick. So you can see here I've already closed off the food and I've done tier 3 and tier 6. And I decided to take bat here because weakness is just really good. And I don't know, it doesn't necessarily complement anything I already have, but since we're working with Turtle Pack, like the skeleton version of Turtle Pack, there's a lot of synergies and things already in there, so you're less concerned about finding perfect matches because there's a lot of things you're going to be able to work with. So muskox, definitely a very, very strong pet, and I felt like I needed something to counteract jellyfish potentially. But at this point, I'm now not really sure what I'm looking for anymore. And Flame takes T-Rex, and he's got cat already. Pretty deadly tier 6 level up potential. I decided to take moose. Not sure that's a particularly great pick, but then I take mantis to go along with muskox, just in case I happen to get both of them. So now we're down to just tier 1 and 2, so the available list is much shorter and it's much easier to actually find what you're looking for. So Flame takes sea lion. Yeah, I don't know if necessarily that's that great a pick because he's got a lot of scaling units already, and with jellyfish, clownfish, you probably don't need sea lion. I take chinchilla for my tier 1 just because it's one of my favorites. You can potentially still get a double level up with it, even though on the test server it has been changed. And then last of all, I take stork just to have another unit that could potentially go in front of muskox. And then we're done. And we copy the pack code and off we go. So we played 6 games with these 2 packs, but I've just picked a couple of them. I think if I included them all, the video would probably be an hour long. But I've also actually had to shorten them a bit, so we're picking this one up on turn 7. I've already got my muskox, which I realised pretty quickly I probably needed to survive against jellyfish. And we're looking for pills. But turn 7, pills are going to start to become a bit scarce, so I need to get the muskox as big as possible before that happens. And then we're probably going to have to look for some other means of scaling. Now, for anyone who does play 1v1 versus on a regular basis, I'm sure my gameplay is not going to be very, very good. But I guess, if you've never played it, I've played well over 1,000 hours of Arena, but in terms of actual 1v1 versus games, I don't know, maybe I would probably be struggling to have even played double digits. And most of them have been in the service of testing this draft system out. So I think it's probably going to take a little bit of time for me to get any better at it. But here I replace lynx with turtle. And I think here I actually make a relatively decent play in that I decide to move the betta fish in front of the turtle because the deer is going to kill both of them, or the bus is going to kill both of them, and that's going to result in the melon and the buff both going to the muskox. So I think that's one of the things that in verses that you can get these sort of satisfying moments where you make a really smart decision for, even if it's only going to be for one turn. But yeah, I really need some other kind of scaling method here, because muskox by itself, I'm just not going to find the pills. I guess I could look for mantis as well, because I did draft that, but mantis is also going to be quite small to begin with on turn 9, and I still only have level 1 muskox as well. Although we are finding a good number of betta fish, and I think I should just take that one as well. Yeah, we can try and repeat the same process with the deer. Now there is seal there. I could have frozen seal. However, maybe if you're paying attention in the draft, you'll have noticed that Flame drafted a bunch of splash food, I think, or at least he drafted more than I did, so that he was all set for seal squirrel, and you can see he's already got it on board here. And I'm already down to 2 hearts, so we're gonna get the monkey in, I think, here, and probably seal as well. And although I felt like I was in big trouble here because of seal squirrel, I was quite proud of this little interaction as well, where I take seal and I give it potato, because one of the changes they made to potato I think it was in the test phase for the golden pack, was that it blocks chili as well. So I'm going to move the seal up front, and it's going to block some of the damage from the bus. However, I then make an incredibly silly play here where I buy moose, and now of course the frozen seal and monkey are done, they're gone. So really I should have probably just gone for the level up on seal and just taken the monkey. And you can see here that the potato does actually tank the splash damage there, and it's going to get us the win. Although actually maybe it didn't make that much difference, but it's still nice when things actually go to plan. Trying to get moose to level 2 as soon as possible, because it's really not going to be very effective unless it's giving at least double buffs. And unfortunately we don't roll any chocolate, so we'll just have to hang on for next turn. Really didn't want the moose to buff the turtle. That's another reason, if you've only got a 1 in 4 chance of hitting the leopard, it's pretty rough. And you can see that I think I edited out a bit of delay there while Flame was deciding what to do. I'm not sure what decision he really needed to make, because he's just feeding food to the seal, and he's even got his empty pivot slot there so that he can have the cow buy sell. So I'm down to 1 heart here. It's pretty desperate stuff. And I think I'm going to buy the tiger just to have an extra leopard snipe. I can't really afford to spend gold on food, I don't think. Probably just need the levels. And we do find another tiger. So it would be nice to freeze that and then roll and find a chocolate. With the level 2 moose, we are getting a little bit more scaling. But if you think about how much level 2 moose giving plus 4/4 twice, and compare that to what you can generate with seal plus squirrel, even a level 1 squirrel, I think seal squirrel is going to win 9 times out of 10. Although here we actually by 1 HP managed to win. So it's not quite a runaway victory for Flame yet. However, he's about to get another turn worth of cheap food scaling. And we do actually manage to get the full shop of frozen 5+ tiers. And it does hit the leopard as well. However, leopard's only doing 10 damage, and look at the health. There's just no way. And he gets the cat as well to complete the full food team. So yeah, GG's to Flame on that one. And then I think that was actually the first game we played, because afterwards I was much more focused on trying to prevent that from happening with the well, I guess I can't prevent him from taking squirrel seal, but I need to be more focused on getting stronger scaling earlier so that it's not such a big issue. So here's another one starting on turn 5. I do have the muskox again. I think you're probably going to find that a lot, where you do a draft and then afterwards you're going to realize that there's a particular pet or combo that you need in order to try and actually get a win. And here Flame was super unlucky with his turn 5 level ups, and he actually gets double whale. Probably not what he was hoping for. But we do get a pill here, so I need to pill the betta fish first before pilling the ant, because we don't want the buffs from the ant to land on the beta. I'm going to take the Lynx. I think Lynx in general is just a really good pet. I mean, I also haven't watched that much 1v1 versus, but one thing I do know is that they don't really play on custom packs. So I guess Lynx is pretty much never in there. I think on streams and stuff, people do sometimes play with random packs. So I guess Lynx could come into effect there, but this kind of asymmetrical format where people have different packs against each other, I don't really think that's something that's being played very much in the competitive community. But I mean, if you're a member of that community, you can let me know if that's right or wrong. So I'm looking for stork levels here as well. And the reason was, I think this was maybe game 4 or 5. And I was trying to do different things just to make slightly different videos. So I decided to try and go for a stork pill. So I'm setting up to try and get a higher level stork later on, and then I'll be able to pill it in front of the muskox and then potentially get like a level 2 tier 4 or 5. And that make for some interesting gameplay. So I level up the stork here, get crocodile. I'm not really interested in that. Flame is putting, I think he has weak scalers at the back, so the crocodile's not really going to do very much. And we are getting, there is a mantis here. Now I didn't take it because I think it was the game before, or 2 games before, I'd already had mantis muskox. At the time, I didn't realize I wasn't going to end up using that mantis muskox game. But I was deliberately trying to vary things up as much as possible. So here we get extremely lucky with the sheep coming out of the stork, because otherwise I think it's going to be a tie. Although I guess a tie isn't necessarily bad when you're 6 hearts up. 6 hearts up versus 2. And we pill another beta. Even though the muskox is only level 1, it's still definitely worth it. Take the level up here. I probably could have bought the sheep or the cricket and pilled it, and then still had the extra unit, but instead I roll and get extremely lucky with double seal chocolate. That is just disgusting. And Flame is still working with the whale hedgehog. I guess at this point he's fully committed to it. He does have the skunk on board now though, so reducing the stats on the muskox increases the chance that the hedgehog's going to be able to finish it off at the end. However, we're going to pill the stork here, and we actually get mantis. After all my efforts to try and vary things up, I ended up getting the mantis anyway. So level up the seal, and I think here I make a bit of a mistake. I really should just be sacking the giraffe here, not the lynx, because the lynx is much more useful, and we actually get double cow, so for sure I also could have moved the giraffe there because it's it's wasting a buff on the lynx, which is going to get killed by the mantis. And actually Flame ends up winning that one now because of the level 2 skunk. And yeah, here I realize I really shouldn't have I should have killed off the giraffe instead of the lynx. But I think, the buffs from the seal end up going onto the giraffe. I think all of them, all but one go onto the giraffe, so I end up just buying an ant instead. And that one turn with 2 cows, the amount of, it's going to go from a draw, I think, to being a comfortable win in the end. Yes. I mean, look at we went from barely scraping by to comfortably winning with tons of HP left. So thanks very much to Flame for taking part in that, and I'm going to try and get some other creators on to do some more demo games before the draft system goes live.